This morning for an early breakfast, I'm going to be eating some boneless pork chops. These are sirloin, and I'm going to be polishing these off pretty quickly. I've made these on the skillet and used a little bit of butter to grease the pan, and this should take care of me this morning. For late lunch, I'm eating some leftovers from last night. This is the last one, so I just want to make sure it doesn't go to waste. My son said he didn't want it, and he basically gave it to me, so I'm going to have at it. So my wife decided she's going to go ahead and make the rest of the pork chops as well as some barbecue wings. So I am grabbing a couple of these, and the rest are going to go to the rest of the family. And then after this, I'll probably get a handful of the barbecue wings as my last meal during this 30-day carnivore challenge. For dinner and my last meal, I basically have a dozen barbecue wings with a little bit of barbecue sauce slathered on top of it. So I've done basically 32 days of zero carb. 30 of those have been pretty hardcore, focused on carnivore, with the slightest of cheat meals basically. You know, like one day I had a bowl of beef with a little bit of cheese sauce added. So I've tried to basically remain true to this diet for the most part, at least at a 90-95% quality level, I'll say. But I will relish these hot wings, or actually barbecue wings, and I'm not going to punish myself for the barbecue sauce. So the day has finally arrived, the last day of the 30-day carnivore challenge. I'd like to reflect on how my experience was with this way of eating, and I'd like to go over the benefits and drawbacks of carnivore, to me at least. So first of all, I have to say that I learned a lot through this diet. I started out eating twice daily most of the time, but towards the end I found myself eating a third meal kind of mixed in more often. I think part of it was due to me craving more food, but another part of it was due to me waking up so early, so often. So on most days I was actually awake close to about 20 hours, so I just couldn't help but get hungrier in the morning or in the afternoon. And I would end up finding an opportunity to eat in between either the early breakfast and the dinner with some sort of meal, and that's usually where I gained some extra calories throughout the day. But I learned a lot more about how to prepare these meats that I've been consuming, and I've gained a lot of experience in doing so. So I haven't just learned how to do them, I've experienced doing it, and that's actually been a key. I'm also aware of a lot more meat options that are available to me than I knew before. I was a little bit in the dark, relatively speaking. And I also now know that fatty cuts of meat are the best. And I know to look out for fat trimmings in the future. For example, go to a butcher and see if they have some extra fat trimmings not included with any meat, maybe buy them for relatively cheap. So I also learned that I actually like beef liver, and that's now going to be a part of my weekend breakfasts from now on. Secondly, I enjoy the benefits of this diet. I like a lot of the convenience and simplicity aspects of this diet. There are very few barriers to making good, healthy meats pretty quickly. So making a quick snack or dinner doesn't take long, just a little bit of time, in a skillet, on the stove, maybe in an oven, and so forth, or on a grill. And I found out there's something called sous vide or sous vide. I forget how you say that, but I'm interested in trying that out. That sounds like slow cooking meats and preserving a lot of the nutrition over time. That sounds very appealing, and it doesn't look like it's too hard, although it's a little time consuming. I like the ease in which I can establish a set routine. I did have fewer cravings on most days, but on other days I did have a little bit extra cravings due to waking up so early. So that's sort of a balance that I've got to deal with on this diet. I also had easier digestion of most of the foods I ate, considering most of it was essentially absorbed into my system. And overall, I had to use the restroom less often, and there was less waste to get rid of when I did go to the restroom. Third, while I didn't like the drawback of dehydration, the primary issue that I had on this diet, or its two side effects for me of leg muscle cramps and constipation, this diet let me know that I have these health-related issues in the first place. And so I need to work through them, and in the future I'll be getting a medical checkup, I'm going to get some blood work done, and I'm going to try to get an idea of what health issues I do have. The advantage of an elimination diet like this is it lets you self-examine your body and learn things about yourself that you wouldn't know otherwise. And I had no idea that I had these underlying medical issues and that they would get worse in the future, or be exposed by not eating carbs for a few days. And so now I know what to look for. So now let me answer some questions that one might think of with regard to this diet. So first and foremost, will I continue eating carnivore or zero carb? So I have to say, not at this time. In the future, I will be revisiting carnivore because I actually like this diet, but I do have these complications. But I have 1 week planned for WOBO, week of beef only, that I'll need to prepare in advance for, because I want to get some high quality, high fat beef for it, get it set up in advance so it's easier to go through. And I will probably supplement that with some beef liver every maybe couple days, or maybe just on the weekends. I'm also planning on doing a PSMF, a protein sparing modified fast, using beef liver as a main ingredient because it's relatively high in protein, very little but modest amount of fat, very little but modest amount of carbs. And I think it's very fitting for this type of low calorie, low carb, low fat, temporary crash diet that's used to lose weight quickly. But I would only do that when I've gone above my 155 pound weight goal. As some of you may know from previous videos, I want to stay in the 150 to 155 pound range and work on building muscle. But if I go above 155, I may do a PSMF for a few days to get me under, and that would save me the effort of going through like a water fast per se, and I could experience this in this unique way. I'm also interested in doing a week of OMAD, or 1 meal a day, with foods like grass-fed short rib steak or ribeye steak. I like boneless over bone-in, and I want to use any foods that are specifically, I don't want to say designed, but have the fattiest cuts of meat out there, and ribeye steak is one of those. So I have things in the pipeline planned in the future with carnivore that I will of course be making videos on. Would I recommend carnivore or zero carb to others? Yes, although with at least one caveat. I would recommend anyone wanting to try this, in the very beginning, maybe a month or so, try a well-formulated ketogenic diet. Just to get this whole process down of lowering your carbs and living in a state of ketosis before you essentially eliminate a lot more foods out of your diet. I'd recommend that you eat foods that you enjoy within that selection in that ketogenic diet. And if you can go an entire month in ketosis, then remove everything but the animal products and just see how that goes. Try that for a month. Do your own 30-day carnivore challenge. I've eaten low carb before, but not ketogenic. And that's what I ate leading up to this way of eating. And while I didn't really experience the keto flu, I think this diet was so hardcore, it was more of a shock to my system than it would have been if I tried an actual ketogenic diet for a month beforehand from a fuller range of foods that I already eat. So that's a lesson learned there. What will I eat going forward? Well, I'm going to eat a lot more meat, period, whether or not I'm on this particular diet or not. And I'm also going to be choosing a lot better, higher quality foods from the animal kingdom. Also, I have a respect for more types of meats than I've ever considered eating before. And I'll still be on a quest to eat more varied things in the future, which a lot of my family and friends would love to hear. I also think that a variety of meats is best for everyone who can eat meat in the first place, that enjoy meat. Try to eat more, try different things, and I think you'll enjoy it more. And that's one of the things I learned about this diet. It's just more is better, more variety is better, or at least for me, and I don't have anything to try to eliminate per se. I'm also going to be eating more whole foods, which is something that I wasn't focused on as much before, but now, thanks to this diet, I have a lot more respect for just higher quality, better tasting foods that are more natural and less unhealthy, less additives, less preservatives, less other chemicals, less compounds. If it doesn't appear in a commercial during the game that you're watching or the movie that you're watching, it's likely going to be a healthier alternative, and that's what I'd prefer. I'm going to add some more ketogenic non-meat foods to my diet, like nuts and berries. I already add herbs, seasoning, and spices. And, I'm going to be doing a well-formulated ketogenic diet in the future. That is all the foods that would go into that, but I'm still going to eat some foods that are outside of it, like pastas and, pizza. Meat will be a bigger part of my diet, but I will focus on the higher fat content and more water as a rule. Like I've been drinking a lot more water than usual. I've been drinking mostly water this year anyways, but I'm even drinking more of it in the light of my last month here. But I will be getting some carbs, and I think that will help my dehydration issue by allowing my body to store more carbs until I get to the bottom of what I'm dealing with. And I want to prevent these, leg muscle cramps and the constipation that I've been dealing with in the last 2 months. And I like things like barbecue sauce on meat. I miss foods, like pasta and pizza and chili, for example. I love chili. I also want to eat a few select fruits like apples, bananas, grapes, and blueberries, maybe even a blackberry here or two. Every once in a while, I want ice cream, cookies, cake, and donuts, and even brownies, just as the occasional treat, like once every month or so, once every couple of weeks, something like that. Like one of my daughters is having a birthday next week. I want to eat an ice cream cake with her and everyone else. So, but, I'm going to be trying to focus on eating healthier as a rule, like more than 80-20, more like 90-10. Healthy foods to unhealthy foods, whole foods, compared to junk foods. I'm going to try to add things like fat bombs in a ketogenic diet, for example, after this challenge. But I'm only interested in healthy fats, not sweet treats. So what lessons have I learned from this? Well, I've learned I can really diagnose my health from the foods that I can eat and the foods that I don't eat as well. I can use diet to do more than control my weight, such as gain or lower it or maintain it. I've learned more than just eating healthier foods, but now I understand that there are communities for all types of dietary choices, from vegan, vegetarian, paleo, pescatarian, ketogenic, carnivore, if it fits your macros, flexible dieting, protein sparing, modified fast, all that kind of stuff. There's literally great groups of people that are very supportive and willing to help people out, help people troubleshoot their problems, help give people advice and answer questions, or even pose their own questions that get answers that everyone else can learn from. And I've learned that any food preference that you can imagine will have some sort of support. Maybe it's not the best thing for you to do, but maybe there are pitfalls and hazards you can avoid if you get the right direction from others who have gone through that experience and have learned from their own set of mistakes. I've learned that I really like a lot more meat and types of meats than I used to. I know that people should consider low carb, ketogenic, and carnivore diets. That's something I was not really sold on before 2018, and throughout the last year I've learned more about them, and throughout the last month I've experimented with the ketogenic carnivore diet pretty heavily, and it's made me have a newfound respect for proteins and fats, but it also makes me think that people really need to earn their carbohydrates, as in if they get enough high quality protein and they get enough healthy fats and they get enough nutrition through these foods, if those conditions are met, the rest of your foods can have carbohydrates in them that you have to prioritize, like organ meats and the healthier foods out there, then maybe the less healthier foods, but all still within the whole food genre or whatever type of foods out there. And then add maybe the occasional junk food or less than healthy food or processed food as a finisher or as a treat or something like that. But don't make those your baseline for dietary and nutrition guidelines. And also I've gotten some good advice by others to keep working on getting better nutrition, specific advice that they've learned. So that's provided value to me. And I'm working on eliminating the lower quality foods when possible still. Keep in mind that my wife buys stuff on her own, and when she's at the store, she gets dinner items for everyone. But she's now willing to buy things that she knows that I like, and I can eat those, even if everyone else is going to make something else. So, anyways, I'm going to digress here, but now let me show you my calorie count for this month. So it's not perfect, but it gives me an idea of how much food, in terms of calories or fuel, that I ate on this diet. So you're not really going to see it here. I'm not going to break it down. But my first week on this challenge, I went above like my maintenance calories are 1900, but I lost weight, and some of that was water weight. For week 2, I went under in terms of calories, and I think my weight kind of reflected that. Week 3, I maintained my weight, and week 4, I'm going a little bit over. And I think when all things are said, I ate more calories than usual in the month that I did this challenge, but I maintained my weight within 2 pounds. So that shows that carnivore is really good for allowing you to hold on to your set point, and that's something I've advocated for in the past. So anyways, to wrap this up, tomorrow I'm going to measure my waist on camera, and I'm going to see if it's the same size or any smaller than the waist measurement from the beginning of this challenge. I've also scheduled a DEXA scan and a Fit 3D scan during my lunch tomorrow. And my next video, hopefully produced and released by tomorrow night, I'm going to go over my current stats at the end of this diet that you're seeing me complete today. I'll also draw up a quick general game plan for the near future with what I plan to do, like gaining mass, exercise, weight training, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.